Yes, President Obama, again addressing you. Shortly after I taped the first recordings that I never got around to sending you because I've been living out of bags initially, then out of suitcases, and I've been dragging myself and my life around from New York. It's been like taking a tour of New York, being evicted. I was evicted illegally on November 3rd, 2010. And I say illegally because neither did Adult Protective Services interview me, and because I'd been evicted in 2009, because I could not go to landlord-tenant court given the injuries to my feet and it being 20 degrees out, and the fact that I cannot wear closed shoes, and I couldn't risk exposing the injuries to my feet to mud and slush, and or losing a toe or a limb due to freezing. So I was evicted not knowing how the system here works. In February 11th, 2009. Then I got back into my apartment, and so Adult Protective Services was more than fully aware of the situation with the injuries, serious injuries to my feet. They sent a letter later saying that they could not be of help to me because I had called and asked them to please be kind enough to send someone to court to explain why I could not present myself that day and to ask for an order to show cause, to ask for a different date. They did nothing of the kind, but also no one explained to me when I called the court to say I can't come for this and this reason. The clerk at the court did not explain to me that it did not suffice for me to send the papers by courier, which is what I did with copy for the landlord. It was simply sent to their mailroom, and hence within 4 or 5 days of that hearing, I was evicted, summarily evicted, February 11th, 2009. So on November 3rd, 2010, I'm evicted illegally without being interviewed by Adult Protective Services. So it's obvious that the landlord, one would presume, spent quite a bit of money, and without the marshal posting a prior 72-hour eviction notice on my door. To be thrown out into the street for the third worst and coldest winter on recorded history. And here it is, August 21st, 2011, and I'm still homeless, thanks to my rogue trustee, Bank of America U.S. Trust, that having promised to pay the stipulation that I called him about in August of last year from the court, and I said I've reached an agreement with my landlord which will save me $16,000. It really should have been negotiated for a lot more, because throughout the 5 to 6 years that I lived in this building, I never had equal access to my abode as all the other tenants in the building, given that I was forced to go through the service entrance up and down a very steep ramp that sapped the battery life of my 2 scooters and cost me constant repairs on the scooters and breakage of this equipment that is made to go on level ground and not made to go up steep inclines or down them. In any event, the landlord, who has wide staircases in the building, could have easily overlaid a ramp on the 2 sets of 3 steps as requested by me, and followed up by about the signature of 70% of the tenants in the building. But since it seems that systematically, sadly, the abuse of power is what gains the day in our country, and not the interest of the common person. You know, a landlord would have nothing if he didn't have tenants that paid him rent. But the connection seems to have been broken somewhere, the mental connection that it's thanks to your customers that you have a business. So they were never willing to do this or accommodate me in any way. So I get illegally evicted. I've been homeless ever since. I have had to move constantly from one place to another. I've slept in hallways. I've slept in my doctor's office, who kindly took me in. but because he needs the office space to conduct business by 6, 7, or very latest 8 a.m. in December, January, I'd be asked to leave the office so that he could conduct his business, though he starts at 5. So then I would have to find a place to go where I wouldn't freeze to death. And thus has been my life, thanks to my rogue trustee. And they promised to pay the stipulation. I went downstairs in Lieutenant Housing Court in late August of last year to ask them whether they were going to pay the stipulation and save me the $16,000 for me to do so. And so then I went ahead and signed.